said that.
Detroit team was nice. We all know that. But I mean,
Allegedly,
that's like
Julius
saying
Randle is
if
playing
you
now.
want to, that's like saying Magic's teams was nice, or you know what I'm saying when he had Jamal Wilkes and all these great scorers, Nixon and Kareem, and now we saying Magic wasn't good because he had great players on his team.
No, that's
No,
not.
the
Right.
ideology. No,
Magic
time out.
wasn't the
And they
argument.
team was
The
better.
I'm trying to
ideology.
understand.
Magic's
Help
team
me
was
out.
I'm about to
better.
answer. I'm about to answer your question, Tom. I'm about to answer your question, Tom. I told this before yesterday. I said the narrative of just because I won, I was on a winning situation, so I'm gonna put
I
myself
agree.
above this other guy. I think
As
that's
the
an
leader.
I think that's an empty case to make for somebody being better than somebody else.
We had that
Especially when
discussion.
hold on, time out,
We
time out, time out, time out.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because you asked the question, I'm trying to answer
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Go
Because
ahead.
there's,
Go ahead.
of course, there's more things that goes into them winning than just the players themselves.
Hundred
Number one
percent.
is their supporting cast. Number two is injuries. Number
I
three is your
agree.
role players. Number four is your coach. Isaiah Thomas on the road for him winning. He one had a great supporting cast. Two,
Sure.
he clearly benefited from the guys being hurt and the supporting cast not being there. Scottie
Okay.
Pippen in year two in 1990. I mean 1989. So that's what we're just saying. Just
But he
because
beat
he
him
just
3
had
times,
these,
didn't he?
just because he had these
It
runs
might have been
on a
90. I
great,
think that might have
it
been 90.
might have
He
been
played
90.
them.
Let me ask you a question.
He
Mhm.
beat.
Let me
they
ask you a
beat
question.
them
Was he the
no,
best player on that
he
team? Do
beat
you
them
think?
for sure. Who do you?
I would say he was the best player. Yes,
You would say.
Was he the leader of that team?
yes,
Put that out.
without a doubt.
Okay, without a doubt, right? And so his leadership, his being the best player on those teams, let you know, Joe Duma, all those teams were good. I clearly said that they were good, but him being that has to count for something. That's all I'm saying.
We're
And
not
it
saying that
does.
When you
either.
talk
We're not
about
saying
Chris
that
Paul,
either.
when you talk
We're not saying
about
that
Chris
either.
Paul and you talk about he had good games. Look at some of those fourth quarters though. Look at some of those fourth quarters in close
He was
winnable games that
he was
Chris Paul
performing
he
well.
showed up in some, he didn't show up in some. I would say in pivotal games, even in that finals, in games what was it, 3 and 4, when Devin Booker went for 40, Chris Paul
4 and 5.
didn't show up in them fourth quarters. Those were winnable games.
Oh wait, time out, because I'm glad you brought that up. Because like I said, in game four, I can't even defend that. It was a terrible
Nobody.
game,
Yes.
100%. Game three, they were getting blown the fuck out. So there was no fourth quarter thing. Even then, he was
Okay,
I
game
think he was
five then
stat
maybe.
padding.
What was it?
He
Game
was stat
5.
padding
Game 5.
in game three.
I did.
Game
Game 4 and
five
5.
and game 5 and 6, the
I'm about to
man
say
missed one shot in the
in the
fourth
fourth
quarter.
quarter. So it's not those games either. So
It's
again,
not.
What?
He was
How
showing
many?
up in
How
the
many?
fourth
How
quarter.
many did he go for? Okay. How many shots did he take? 2 shots and miss one. How many did he take in those 4 quarters?
He took.
I'm
he took
about to say I'm about to do it
He
right
took
now.
4 in
And did
game
he have any
5. He
turnovers in
took
the
4
last
in
like
game
4
I think in
5.
minutes?
game 5
He
he was
took
4
4
and
in
5.
game
Yeah.
5, and then in game
In
6
game
he took
in game 6, he
took 4 as well.
game 4 and 5, he shot he scored 10 points in game 4, 9 points in
Right.
game 5, and in game 5
Okay.
and game 6, he scored 10 and 9, and he was by far the most pivotal player in the fourth quarter.
What about turnovers in the last like 5 minutes?
And turnovers
In
in that
game 4.
in game 6, the turnovers
Dub,
he
no,
had
we
one.
agree on
He
that.
only got one
We already
turnover.
said
He only
this
got one
about
turnover in game 6 in the fourth quarter.
in that series.
And he
Well, had one turnover
in game in
My
as well. That's it.
My
It's just
point
one.
is, Chris Paul, he plays
one.
good. He plays good in a lot of those playoffs, but I think he gets overblown of how in a lot of those 4 quarters and against the Clippers in those fourth quarters. I mean, when he was on the Clippers in those 4 quarters on pivotal runs and when the game is on the line, I don't think he comes up big. That's just me. I've seen it.
And this is why I say, hold on, low, because this is why I say you guys put all of this spotlight on Chris Paul instead of Devin Booker, who had a turnover. Who had a turnover? I think
I
in game
got you.
5 or game 6, which actually shifted the momentum in Milwaukee's favor. So
I
again,
agree.
you're holding this spotlight
think
on
CP played
CP3
good.
when Devin Booker is
I just went to the Clippers though.
So what year? What year?
I have to look.
What year? But what? You gotta let him go. Yeah.
I'm not that guy, Lo. I'm not that guy. Lo, I'll be honest with you. I'm not that guy that can point to game 4, 19. You know what I'm saying? I don't recall, but I can look it up and find it for you. But I can't recall it all just off memory. I'm not that guy. But what I will say,
the only time that he really underperformed when he was with the Clippers was that OKC series where he.
No, it's more than that. I know you're looking at total games. I just looked this up. It was more than that. It was fourth quarters. I'm not saying he had bad games. I'm talking about coming up small in fourth quarter when those games were winnable. They were tied games going into the third quarter. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, and he just didn't perform well. He may have had a good game. He may have got 20.
I'm going to give you 2 more examples. There's one game against the Houston Rockets in 20. I think that was like 15 or whatever. And then another one, I think maybe back in New Orleans against the San Antonio Spurs, where he was like,
no, I was just looking up some Clipper joints. I just can't remember the game.
So if Chris Paul never gets it done throughout his career and he retires, do you not hold him accountable for never closing the deal?
And that's another thing I was going to say.
I hold him accountable, but to the extent of me just putting somebody else over him because he had better teams. Because in my opinion, the 88 and 89 Detroit Pistons, Chris Paul's never been on teams that talented. He just never has. He's never been on teams that talented, bro.
So
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Before even
you got to keep that same manager for all these other players, though, bro.
I do.
If that's the case, we got
I do.
But I will.
My issue is if people disagree, I'm fine because I know people value accolades, and he's
a greater player.
I'm the outlier person. I don't rank the accolades of the rings. The issue I have
understand
is people trying to act like it's not because of the rings. That's my issue.
Not me.
For me, it's because of the rings, and I'm like.
Do you think the rings makes
the
him greater
as a leader?
The way I value player, I've said that how great you are to me is just how good you are and for how long. I don't care about your ability to win an MVP or your championship.
So the accolades,
I don't care.
And for me, does accolades matter? Yes, but what's more important is what was your contributions. There are several
100%.
series in Isaiah Thomas's career, especially when he went up against Chicago, where he struggled mightily.
Okay, what about the championship?
He did.
You talk
about the
3 for 10,
every championship.
5 for 12. I know that.
What I'm saying is that even you can't get to the championship round though unless you go through the teams that you're facing. And in those series against Chicago, they did not make it by them because of the excellence of Isaiah Thomas. Maybe a game or two, but that's it.
Doesn't matter.
They got by that because the team's defense was so supreme that it altered the impact of Michael Jordan. And then he
shot bad too.
You don't think his leadership had something to do with it though?
I'm not saying that it had nothing to do with it, but when we're talking about this level, when we're talking about these levels of players, everybody's leadership is playing a part of it. What's actually going on the floor? That team's defense and Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan, the way they impacted Jordan was not because of Isaiah Thomas. It was because of Joe Dumars, Rick Mahorn.
We know that. Nobody never said that.
But that's
nobody.
The reason why
who was guarding IT, Lo?
You see how
who was guarding IT?
Like you get the spit and fact.
They used to switch it. To be fair, they put bigger guards on IT, and that's a real
and that allowed Dumars to cook because Dumars was cooking in that series. So you got to take that in consideration too.
I'm just saying
because every player, like you spoke to previously, every player's gonna have bad matchups in the playoffs, bro.
How do you measure intangibles?
So to hold that against IT and say I'm not
holding it against them. I'm just putting it into context. Like, did they get by the Bulls, get to the finals? Absolutely. But how much of a role did Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, that's a bad matchup for IT. That's a bad matchup.
And I get that. So what I'm saying is that they were still able to win though, even when he didn't have.
How many times did they play the Bulls though?
They played them every single time they got to the finals, all 3 years.
Hey, but Todd, do you bring up 2019 CP3 losing to the Houston Rockets?
To bring that up?
Golden State.
CP3 losing to the Golden State Warriors in 20. Do you hold that against him?
I'm not really gonna hold that. I mean, he just has a career of just not getting it done, bro. We got all the excuses in the world. You know what I'm saying? We got this happened, that happened. Either he's injured, either the player's injured, and that's fine. That stuff happens. And unfortunately, you could say he's unlucky. You could say this. You could say that. That's all great. But it's been times he's let the team down in the fourth quarter. It's been times he's played well in the fourth quarter. It's been times his team was injured. It's been times his team wasn't injured. But at the end of the day, he didn't get it done, bro.
I just hate that mentality, bro.
I don't like.
And he's always doing.
I understand it. I don't like that mentality.
No,
I want to ask one question,
especially when black people say that. I hate it because y'all act as if like there aren't variables in our life that prevents us from.
Whoa, where are we going? What are we doing?
So now all of a sudden, because that logic is something that we don't abide by. Like to sit here and just say, "Oh, you just didn't get it done. Who cares? You just didn't get it done. You just failed."
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
No, we just talking about.
No, y'all,
Chris Paul versus
I think you guys just missed the analogy. I think you guys missed the analogy.
You're missing the point. You're completely missing the point.
No, I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. I did miss it.
I'm saying is we all live by ideology to know to put things into its proper context. You just sitting here saying, "Oh, you just didn't get it done. You didn't get it done." We don't live by that logic in real life. We don't do that. We just don't. Because we know there are factors outside of our control that can control our outcome. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're a failure at life because you didn't do something, because you were just put in bad situations or it's things that happen.
Nobody said.
Can you say that he kind of put himself in that situation?
We said IT is better
than playoff choker. What the hell? We got people calling him a playoff choker.
Yeah,
I agree with you. And you talk about ideology, and you talk about the struggle, the plight of people in general. But that's why I think we as a people, we gravitate to sports so much. Sports is supposed to be a place where the best man wins, where the playing field is even, where we can escape from the realities of the plight of the black man. Where you see, leagues where 75% black and all this other stuff. We can go on and on and on. But all I'm saying is sports is supposed to be the place where it's mano a mano. It's nothing else in the world out here, but we are about to go out here and display our skills, and who's the best? The best player wins. So that's why I kind of disagree with that analogy. But if I
go on the court and Blake Griffin is hurt and Jamal Crawford's hurt and I'm Chris Paul and your team is fully healthy, is that an even plan? Is that a level playing field?
No. I got you on that. That's
all I'm saying. So one thing is you remove that context and just say you fail. And to the guy who keeps saying a 3-1 lead, and it's only one time where he blew a 3-1 lead in that series.
There's a lot of times
he was hurt. He was in 2015. That's the only time. And in
against
2015, against the Rockets, and in 2015. And by the way, in 2015, Chris Paul was also hurt dealing with a hamstring injury, and he didn't even play that entire series.
Nobody's fault, though.
I'm not saying, but you see what I'm saying? That right there. What he's saying right there is that's the shit I'm talking about. As black people, if I give you
get the job done,
you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
But he had.
I got what you're saying, man. But at some point,
we let him get off with all that.
Can't get the job done and don't apply.
You see what I'm saying?
Then he got a company.
Yeah, man, that's tough. It's tough. I understand what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, at some point, you got to get it done, man.
No, fair.
Man, where I'm from, man, we ain't got time to be all.
If you want to put them in the category with an IT, you got to get it done at some point.
We ain't got time for all that.
We got a bottom line.
Got to hold it down.
I want y'all to go to prison and tell those black people
I've been to prison.
Who had no father, who was adopted, who had all those.
No, man, we're doing sports right now. We're doing something else. You talking about outside forces and a system to keep people down. That's something different, bro. That's something different.
I can't control.
No. You're talking about a whole system. Nobody made a system for Chris Paul to fail, bro.
Made it to the final.
Nobody made a system for Chris Paul to fail. You're doing a little much with that.
But an injury is an outside force.
The NBA wasn't designed for Chris Paul to fail, bro.
I can't control if Blake Griffin gets hurt.
Yeah, you're doing a little bit much with that, Lo.
I can't control if Blake Griffin gets hurt.
I understand that, but nobody hit Blake Griffin in the leg and told him to get hurt. There was no system set up for him to fail, bro.
Is sports supposed to be a representation of life and how to handle your trials and tribulations, right?
I understand that, but it's supposed to be on an even playing field. Injuries happen in life. Injuries happen but it's nobody. It's nobody. Nobody's supposed to be cheating. Nobody's supposed to be cheating you. You know what I'm saying? The referees aren't supposed to be against you. The association isn't supposed to be against you. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Injuries happen in life. You get sick. You still got to go to work sometimes when you're sick.
So do you hold Kawhi's 2019 championship to the same caliber as Dirk's? Yep. He said yeah. He said yeah. No. You already answered. You said yes. You said yeah.
No. No.
In terms of performance, no.
Because we know that Kawhi went up against a team that was not 100%.
I agree with that, Lo.
But
at the end of the day, that's on Kawhi's resume, bro.
No, but if Kawhi went in there and performed mediocrely, like he would just okay. Like he went out there and averaged 20 points. His shooting splits went down. He played okay. He wasn't playing great. It is getting it done if KD is hurt.
20. Wait, you said 20. Wait, you said 20 points
in 2019.
He's just saying. Imagine Kawhi played mid, but they still won because KD wasn't.
So is that
still won?
Yes.
That's a hell of a scenario. That's a hell of a scenario.
No, it's not fucking a hell of one. What about Kobe's first ring? You hold Kobe's first ring and what his contribution?
Of course not. You know I don't.
And so that's my point. Kobe played okay. He had a great game. He closed out one of those games fair.
I'm fine with context, Lo. I'm fine with context, brother. But I'm talking about your analogy, though.
So I reverted back to something back to basketball.
Yeah. I'm fine with context, brother. I'm good with context.
A winner's a winner.
Chris Paul had a competent team.
I didn't say that. I said Chris Paul never got it done.
And they lost.
Okay.
Chris Paul had a competent team, they lost.
What did he say?
He said they got a competent team, they lost. 2017, 13, 16, 18, all injured. 2017, 13,
I don't even know what he
16,
talking
18,
about.
he was injured.
Hear me.
2015, he was also injured. Bro, 5 of the years that he was with the Clippers, they were dealing with injuries. 5 of them.
Okay, wait, you said 2015 he was injured or he was hurt?
2015 he was rushed because of a hamstring in the Rockets.
He was playing, right?
13, 16, and 18
more
he was
years.
hurt. 5
years.
I understand all that.
Let me put a scenario like this. Let's say if you're in charge of
How
something,
long he
right?
been in the NBA?
Let's say
This is not long talking.
No.
Yeah,
Let's
20 years.
say if you're in charge of somebody, right? You're in charge of a worker in a team, right? Everybody produces and their numbers at a high level, right? But they have to use machine equipment. If somebody's machine equipment isn't working properly, you're not going to hold them to the same standard
hold
as
on.
it is. Wait.
My boy at my job just got hurt because he ran himself over with a pellet jack. He still has to perform to standard to get the job done.
That wasn't the analogy, though. That wasn't the analogy.
Wait. But I want to be clear, though. If he doesn't do it, though, you're not going to win.
He's out of there.
But you are not going to see.
He's out of there.
Hey, nigga, you're a loser.
New man on the
you didn't do what you're supposed to do. You're a choker. You're a loser.
Hey, some people will. I wouldn't. Some people will.
Why would you not?
I never did that.
Why?
Because I seen him run himself over. But he's
okay, and I've seen
still
Blake
pulling
Griffin
115 though. That's why he's still pulling above average.
I've seen Blake Griffin get hurt. I've seen Chris Paul get hurt. I've seen things out of his control occur in postseason.
But there's been 13 other years where he didn't.
Name me the years. Name me the years where he did.
When did he first go to the Clippers?
When
did he first go to the Clippers? 2009.
I just named you 5 years.
Okay, so he went to the Clippers in 2009. He went to the Clippers 2009, right?
No, he did not.
2012.
2012. Okay, so you got hurt. What? 2015.
Low beyond one.
In 2012, he performed poorly.
2012, motherfucker. No, go ahead.
In 2014, we already acknowledged he performed poorly. In 2015, he was hurt. In the other seasons, he was hurt. I just named them for you.
Okay, so
Low. That's all fine.
But then
go ahead, brother.
I want him to give me the answer. What year? What year are you saying that he performed poorly that we're not saying? What is the year? What is it?
Shit. So from 2012 to 22 now? 20, yeah. So it's been 10 years.
2017.
You
talking about?
You could say injuries for 5 years, right? So that's already just like, damn. Okay, well we give an excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. At some point, it becomes an excuse. It becomes an excuse. At some point,
I'm not saying it's an excuse. It's fact. It's not an excuse. It's context. I understand what you're saying.
Wait. If your friend, right? If your friend keeps getting hurt at his job, are you going to look at him as any less than a
You're just making an excuse, man.
He's doing his job.
Say you unreliable.
He's still above average.
Listen, if he
right, reliability, availability.
Unreliable.
But time out. If your friend, hold up, because that's not the analogy that's being made. If your friend keeps consistently getting hurt, are you gonna sit here and hold to a level as if he's not that good of a worker?
Shit, I'm thinking in my head is another one bites the dust. He's gone.
Like that.
I can't.
But Low, I mean, but Dub. If this dude on your job keeps getting hurt, and when it matters most, when production is at its peak, it's Christmas time or whatever, you got to get the shit out. This is your money making time, and he keeps getting hurt every year. And then, but the other dude, IT comes in. Oh, this dude got it done. He got it done. He did the numbers on time. You know what I'm saying? And finished the job. Then this dude is gonna be. I'm hiring him next year. This is my guy.
I agree
the other guy is not my guy.
He's not reliable.
I agree with you, but that's not what their argument was. It wasn't about reliability either. It was just that one player is better than the other. That's all it was.
No, I said the championships and everything.
You said championship. No, you did not.
I'm talking about. I said leadership. I brought in leadership. I brought in all that. You brought in leadership and all that.
Excuse, man. Stop, man. That's crazy.
Listen, I got to bring up some other guests. I got Ty, you good, but I got to bring up some.
All right.
So please,
crazy comment.
At least y'all be easy, bro. The whole point of the argument, right? A lot of these things is not in these guys' control. If I'm a boss and I see that my worker, he's getting hurt, or the people around him are getting hurt, and it's something outside of his control, but the majority of the time throughout his whole entire career, he's meeting my expectations, if not exceeding expectations, despite what's going on around him, I'm not going to look at him as any less than a worker. It's the same type of logic. CP3, a majority of the time, he doesn't drop in the playoffs. He meets his expectations. He meets his production lines. He does everything he's supposed to do, but what leads the team, because it's a team sport, not just individuals, it's the whole team. The reason why the team's production is not meeting a lot of the times is not on him. So if I'm evaluating a team, and then recognizing an individual worker, seeing who's the best worker amongst his team and what's that guy's doing, I'm not going to look at him as any less than a worker.
Okay, so you never thought CP3 had a championship caliber team. Then that's fine if you don't, but you'll say he never had a championship caliber team.
I think he did. I just think the years in which he did, either he or Blake Griffin got hurt.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. The player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.